The Creighton Blue Jays have big caulk energy. Meet the Creighton Blue Jays out of the Big East Conference. The Blue Jays had a very rough start to the season, starting 7-5 with double-digit losses to Nebraska and San Diego State. Their worst loss of the season was a 24-point blowout loss at Georgetown. Since then, they've had an 11-3 record, including wins over St. John's, UConn, and Marquette. When I went to KenPom to look at what Creighton's stats on the season were, I came across one of the more unique team stats I think I've ever seen. And why do I say this? Well, if you look at the stats on the screen, you'll notice there's a lot of green and a lot of red. And there's one very simple solution as to why Creighton's the second best team in the country from 2, while being the third worst team in the country at forcing turnovers, but being the best team in the country at not fouling. And it's because of their big man, number 11, Ryan Kalkbrenner. But more importantly, it's how head coach Greg Mcdermott chooses to utilize Ryan Kalkbrenner in their deep drop pick and roll coverage. The deep drop is the most passive pick and roll coverage that exists in the game. When watching Creighton guard the pick and roll, you'll notice Ryan Kalkbrenner is nowhere near the ball handler as he comes to turn the corner, which is unlike anything you've seen in college basketball. If you watch teams like Houston and Iowa State, they're up at the line of the screen when the ball handler comes to turn the corner. Or if you watch a team like Gonzaga, you'll notice they have a super hard hedge trying to push the ball handler backwards. But with Creighton, that's not the case. And there's a very simple philosophy behind this defense. Greg McDermott wants you to shoot long pull-up contested twos or even long pull-up wide open twos because that's not an efficient enough shot to consistently beat Creighton. And this is why their stats look the way they do. They don't turn the ball over because they never really pressure the ball. They allow the ball handler to get comfortable and get downhill and operate in that mid-range area. This is why they allow the 6th most points in the country from twos, but they allow the 2nd least amount of points from the free throw line, and that's because you can't challenge Ryan Kalkbrenner in the paint. It doesn't work, and it will never work. Teams have stopped trying to make an effort at attacking him at the rim because the results are never in their favor. Not only is he the best shot blocker in the country, he's the best at altering shots and making you take tough and weird angles just to avoid him. Now you might be wondering, why don't teams try to initiate contact and get into his body to draw a foul call? It's because that doesn't work either. Ryan Kalkbrenner does not foul at all. He always keeps his hands straight up and does not initiate contact with his body. So if you try to get into him to draw that contact, you're just running into a 7'1" wall with his hands all the way straight up. Good luck trying to score over that. Now Ryan Kalkbrenner is the center, so he has to have someone give him the ball and create for him. And those two players are Stephen Ashworth and Jemiah Neal. I want to start off by talking about Jemiah Neal, who is Creighton's most athletic player. He's also their point of attack defender on defense. And on offense, he's all about getting to the rim, playing in transition, forcing the issue, and finding his own shot. But he's efficient enough where he can consistently do this on a game-to-game basis. Now, Stephen Ashworth is a problem to guard on defense. It's not just because he's super quick with unlimited range. It's not just because he's shooting 37, 49, 95 on the year. It's because of the chemistry between him and Ryan Kalkbrenner in the pick and roll game. Now, how do you guard the pick and roll between Stephen Ashworth and Ryan Kalkbrenner? You can't really switch it because what player in the country can guard a 7'1" big man and a 6-foot guard that can shoot it from anywhere? You can't go under because no coach in the country wants to see Stephen Ashworth get a wide open look at the rim. And if you go over the screen, you're now forcing your big man to guard a 2-on-1 between a guard that has a very soft touch around the rim and a big man who's the easiest lob target to throw lobs to in the nation. And this leaves you with one pick and roll coverage to run, and it's trapping the screen, and I think it's by far the most effective pick and roll coverage you can run against Creighton. Creighton does have a turnover issue, but more importantly, it's a live ball turnover issue. They get the ball stolen from them on 12.1% of possessions, which ranks 13th worst in the country. And I believe there are a couple reasons why we see Creighton turning the ball over at such a bad rate. The first reason being the lack of creators on this team. Stephen Ashworth and Jemiah Neal are really the only ones who ever operate with the ball. If this team had Pop Isaacs back from injury, this would be a lot scarier of a team. But since they only have those two primary ball handlers, it's easy to force someone else to beat you. The rest of this roster are 3-and-D wings and spot-up guys, so if you can get them to try to create off the wing, you win that possession as an opponent. The next reason I think they have so many live ball turnovers is their lack of fear. Now, this isn't necessarily a bad thing, but it's because everyone on the court trusts Ryan Kalkbrenner so much that they'll just chuck the ball up to him and hope that he can get it. But he's not able to get it every time, so that leads to a lot of live ball turnovers. My last belief as to why Creighton has so many of these live ball turnovers is because of the lack of athleticism on the roster. The wings on this team are very tall and very long, but they don't have athleticism at all, and that's not a knock on them. They just haven't gotten there yet in their careers. Now, with all this being said, where do I think Creighton is as a team? I think they'll definitely win the first round matchup of their March Madness game. But I think this team desperately needs to be a 7 seed or a 10 seed to make it to the Sweet 16. And this is because I don't think they have the athleticism to compete with any of the 1 seeds. But I think they have enough to beat the 2 seeds, especially if they get hot. I think this team would be a lot scarier and a lot more prepared for March if they had Pop Isaacs, but that's the unfortunate part of the game. So I'll say their ceiling is the Sweet 16 and their floor is a round of 32 exit. Thank you guys so much for watching towards the end of the video. Remember to leave a like, subscribe, and comment below anything you'd like to see. And we're very, very close to March, so stay tuned.